What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. So today is Wednesday. That's right, it's hump day. Hope you're having an awesome day today. Appreciate you stopping by the channel. If we have a look at what's going on, Bitcoin is up. That's right, we had a bit of a trend reversal yesterday, so the question is, are we now headed towards blue skies, or was it just temporary and we're actually going to just continue downwards? Well, I want to talk about that. I also want to talk about what a lot of people have been saying in regards to Tether printing. Maybe Tether is just artificially inflating the Bitcoin price. That could be a possibility. We're going to dive into that. We're going to see what is going on. Also talking about the altcoins. Some people are saying there won't be an altcoin season at all, maybe just for a select few, but collectively we will not see that. There's also some crazy backlash towards Facebook's coin Libra, so we're going to get into all that today, but we do have a lot of positive news as well. You're definitely going to want to check this out. We're going to look at the charts, we're going to talk about the altcoins, and we are going to get to the bottom of what is happening with Bitcoin, and if that sounds good to you, well, you know what to do. Also, if it's your first time checking out the Crypto Zombie channel and you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? We do this literally every single day, even on Sundays, and we give a Ledger Nano SOA every single Monday. All you got to do is comment on any video during the week and you are eligible. Now, let's see what is going on. Let's give this a quick refresh live. So Bitcoin dominance is up to 62.1%. So that has seen a little bit of an increase over the past 24 hours. Overall market cap $320 billion. You'll notice that if we once again switch it to the Bitcoin comparative, you are going to be seeing a lot of red in these altcoins because the altcoins, once again, are not keeping up with Bitcoin. I actually had somebody tell me yesterday that I talk way too much about Bitcoin. I was like, well, what do you want me to talk about? You know what I mean? It's clearly leading the way right now. So having a look at some of the big gainers, though, we do have some altcoins popping off. We have Tezos up 26%. Walton Chain, wow, good for them after they had that, little scare the other day. 25%. Crypto.com, Monacoin, Bytum, Energy, MadeSafe, Agrisha, Mixin, Thorcoin. So we do have some altcoins doing quite well today. Now, having a look at what happened yesterday with Bitcoin, you cannot tell me that this is not a textbook version of a falling wedge reversal. I mean, first of all, let me just go back and forth between these two. Look at this. Look at that striking similarity between these two charts. I mean, literally look, point of contact fails to contact. Second point of contact fails to make contact. Third point, we blast off. And if we go back here, 1 point of contact fails to touch. 2 points of contact fails to touch. Third contact, and we blast out of the wedge. Now, obviously, the question is, are we still in a downwards trend? Well, if you look at what Alex Kruger said, this was actually on July 1st that he put this out, and he said, notice how similar the Bitcoin price action during the last 2 days has been. High odds, market will retest 10K and attempt to break through again. Give it time. He says above the $10,600 short-term downtrend invalidated, right? Well, that is pretty much what we did. Now, something else I want to point out too is we actually created a futures gap, except this time we had it on the way down. So now if we were going to fill this gap, we'd actually have to fill it on the way up. So you could see right here, we've already taken out this yellow region. So I'm just going to delete that. But you can see right here, we still haven't filled all the way up to about $12,134. So short term, we could potentially have our eyes on that level if you're of the belief that we have to fill these gaps, which we've already filled 2 of them. So if we were to fill this one, this would actually be positive and would push Bitcoin up a little bit, right? It would push us up to $12,100 and around $123. Now, noticing this ascending, broadening wedge that we've still been following, obviously back here we had resistance, it became support, resistance, and now potentially maybe it's becoming support again. You can see we dipped below it and now we're sitting just above it again. So I still do have my eyes on this. I haven't really changed the overall view, but obviously as the wedge does begin to broaden, as it, looks more like a megaphone, we could have, bigger and bigger swings. You know what I'm saying, guys? Like we literally could bounce around here, a lot more. So just wanted to point that out moving forward. Now, looking at kind of the bearish side, the negative side of things, right? The question is, are we actually still just trapped in this downwards trend? Now, right here, you could see, I would consider this to be a pretty crucial area, pretty much within the next few days. By July 5th, if we are still above this area and we haven't fallen down or we haven't broken out, then this point right here, I think is going to be very crucial. So I do think that potentially by July 4th, you know, we could be seeing fireworks, no pun intended, guys, or pun intended, any way you want it. But look at this. I still want to point out the fact that on the daily, we have pulled above all of, you know, the averages on the EMA ribbon. You can see right here, we're well above the top ribbon as well. And if we look at some of these actual moving averages, we are trapped between the 50 and the 100 currently on the 4 hour. However, if we zoom out, we look at the super guppy and we also look at the rest of these, we are well above all of them, right? So this is still very bullish. There's nothing really in these charts, you know, signaling, you know, doom and gloom. Yes, we've had a bit of a correction, but obviously as we worded it the other day, we need our 30%, right? And we had our 30% according to Josh Rager. History says that price consolidates followed by an average gain of around 153%, right? Now, we spoke about this, and he says there's great rewards for buying pullbacks, right? So I hope you guys watched my video yesterday. If you didn't watch it, I'm not going to go over this again. Definitely check out yesterday's video. I'll drop it above for you if you didn't see it. But yeah, we were talking about all of these crazy pumps and pullbacks that we had. You know, we went up 75%, pulled back 32. Went up 235, pulled back 39. Went up 176, pulled back 40. Went up 165, pulled back 30, and then finally, obviously, we had our major pump up 258% to the all-time high, which you guys know, then we obviously entered into a bear market, right? But having a look at what we've done since then, you could see we had this massive pump up 170%. We had these two little minor corrections, 16%, but then we had our big pullback of 43%. And since then, you can currently see that we are now up 14.56%, and we had gone up around 18% if you go to the top of the wick. So there you go. That's basically what I was trying to say. And when I was putting out these videos, I didn't want you guys to think that I was being negative or doom and gloom. I wasn't trying to say Bitcoin is going to zero. I just want to be realistic. These types of things do happen. You know, as you can see right here, we do have big corrections. For example, this one was 43%. These create really good opportunities for buying, and that's why I'm such a big advocate for dollar cost averaging, right? When you dollar cost average, you take away all of that anxiety, you sleep better at night, you don't have to worry. Listen, if you bought Bitcoin high, great. It just pulled back 43%. Buy it low, average out, right? And we know that there was only, 60 days or something throughout the entire year that you would have bought Bitcoin at a loss, and probably a little higher now because we had the pullback. But for the most part, Bitcoin's got like a 98+% that if you bought during that time, you would be up over its 10 course years, right? So that came out a little weird, but you know what I'm trying to say. So having a look at some of these levels, I still have my eyes on these levels that we've had before. You know, obviously currently where we're sitting, we need to get back above that $11,700 level. It was a super crucial level. We spoke about it many times. As soon as we broke it, we went absolutely parabolic, but we need to get back above it again. Obviously the next level would be that 12,800, and then where we peaked out, which would be 14,000, right? Now, if we do go higher than that, the next level would be 14,900, 17,300, and then the all-time high. And if you're curious where I got these levels from, just go watch the previous videos. We've been talking about this, guys. We've been talking about it. And you can see right here, Plan B, you know, he's the one that's really famous for the stock to flow ratio. He basically says normal struggle before RSI 70 plus Bitcoin, rocket ship. So obviously the sentiment has changed. Maddie Greenspan put out a poll, 632 votes. Bitcoin's next $3,000 leg will be 70% say it will be up, 30% say it will be down. What do you guys think? Do you think the next $3,000 will be up, or leg down? I picked leg up. I could be wrong, but personally, the only thing that we are still worried about is closing these CME futures gaps right here, right? That's the only thing. Getting back down to this $7,200 level, that could potentially be a problem moving forward, right? But yeah, looks like the sentiment has definitely changed. And I even wanted to turn it over to Jin Chao. He's the Binance strategy officer. And you can see right here, they're definitely looking for a lot higher prices as well. So I'm just going to play this clip from him super quick.
I'm not one to make predictions, but if you look at just historical patterns, we're probably looking at new highs, at least for Bitcoin, 50 to 100,000 range. It's not out of the question.
$50,000 to $100,000 range is not out of the question. And obviously, I'm sure Binance is getting a lot of new referrals. They're seeing the activity. They're seeing the volume. They're getting it firsthand, right? Now, I want to talk about two super bullish things. And then I want to talk about what is up with the altcoins and also this crazy backlash on what's going on with Facebook. Libra looks like they could be facing some serious problems. So super quick, bullish news. Two European companies have launched what they describe as the world's first genuine Bitcoin bond. So you have Luxembourg-based Argento, a securitization firm, joined forces with London Block Exchange, or LBX, to issue Bitcoin-denominated bonds, which is regulated under the United Kingdom's regulator, the Financial Conduct Authority, or the FCA. This is pretty big news, guys. This is really good. So the large investment banks really dropped the ball on this one, they say. The Argento LBX bond represents a first in regulated cryptocurrency products in that it contains no fiat exposure for investors. It's readily available via Bloomberg Terminal, and it's the first crypto product to have its own ISIN code. This is the cool part. Various durations are available. Argento conspicuously naming them after crypto-specific phenomena such as FOMO, HODL, Moon. That's pretty cool, right? This is an excellent product for people who currently hold Bitcoin and aren't planning to sell over the next few years. Now, for the first time, they have an institutional grade way of making their wallets grow without exposing their Bitcoin to the swings of traditional fiat currency markets. Now, that is the first bit of good news. The second bit is that you have Prime Factor Capital was the first crypto hedge fund approved as a full scope alternative investment fund manager by the Financial Conduct Authority. So this is really good, guys. So the firm is going to be allowed to hold more than 100 million euros in assets under management. And it is the first agency to be approved to invest exclusively in the cryptocurrency asset class. So the founders believe that by focusing on a single asset class, even one that carries market distrust, they will surge ahead of their global competitors and become the trusted authority in crypto investing. So I just wanted to get those two bullish stories out of the way. But talking about this money flow chart, we've been talking about how a lot of it's been coming from Tether, right? So we were saying to ourselves, is this actually retail money? Or is this just institutions, right? Or is this just money that's already been sitting into crypto? Well, a lot of people were blaming it on Tether because, as you can see, Tether has clearly been going on a printing rampage. Ever since the beginning of April, it's just been printing and printing and printing. And the question is, what do you do with these Tethers that you print? Well, you buy Bitcoin. I mean, clearly that's where the majority of it is going, right? Obviously followed by Ethereum, EOS, Litecoin, XRP, etc. But you can see the majority is going to Bitcoin. Well, there was actually an interview with TD Ameritrade Network, and this was with the CEO of Kraken Exchange, Jesse Powell. And he says that Kraken is actually seeing massive amounts of fiat currency coming in. So he says, I don't have inside knowledge or anything that's going on with Tether, but I could tell you that historically, when you see growth in the supply of Tether, we've seen growth in the supply of US dollars coming into Kraken, and other exchanges would probably report the same. He says, I think what you're seeing in Tether is just a very transparent reflection of what's happening in the banking system level with all the exchanges. When new Tether is being printed, 99% of the time, tons of US dollars are coming into the exchanges as well. And it's not just being represented as Tether on the blockchain. He actually says recently they've seen massive inflows of fiat currency as well. So he says that he thinks that the Tether is being printed as a result of the new fiat coming into the ecosystem. He says, I don't think Tether is actually a small part of the total fiat supply. He says he thinks it is a small part, so he doesn't think that Tether is doing it alone. He says, I think that Tether's being printed is mostly reflective of actual dollars, so I think you could just look at it as new dollars coming in. It's new users coming in. There are days when you see the price go up 10%. He says you could bet all the other exchanges are onboarding 50,000 to 100,000 new users daily. That is what is driving up the price. It's the huge retail demand and all the media attention. He says that it is not Tether. So there you go. I mean, that's basically coming from somebody directly in the, system. He's the CEO of Kraken Exchange. So that is basically kind of talking about that. Obviously, you can have conspiracies. You never really truly know what's happening, but that's what they say. Now, currently, I wanted to just address the AltSeason one more time because, according to CFA, Jeff Dorman, he's over at Arca, he says it's time to stop waiting for an AltSeason. That lazy term needs to be retired. The crypto market is way more developed now than it was in 2017 or prior, and the notion that a rising tide will lift all boats should not and most likely will not happen. He goes into a thread, very long thread. I'm going to drop this below, but over here at excuse me, over here at Bitcoinist, they were kind enough to basically summarize, the thing. And essentially what he's saying is that he doesn't think that we're going to have just a collective alt season. We're going to have an alt season with altcoins that are actually doing things. He puts them into categories. He talks about clear-cut value proposition. These are things like BNB, Algorand, essential projects, but tokens are unclear, basic attention, 0x, Cosmos, Augur. He also talks about huge networks and communities, Tezos, Tron, XRP, Ripple, live working products. You have Decentraland, FXC, Link, Chainlink, right? So he basically says the term alt season is outdated, and as an eventual bull rally won't happen for the sake of altcoins themselves, but for the ones that work. The sooner people stop talking about a generic alt season, the faster the real alts will actually rally. Very, very interesting point he makes, like last year. Last year was the bear market, but in 2017, we were seeing all altcoins rise. Bitcoin would go up 5%, altcoins would go up 10%. We're not seeing that this year. Bitcoin goes up 15%, altcoins go up 2%, or in some cases they fall, right? So definitely having a different correlation. Now, what can you do, okay? If you're obviously realizing there's a huge difference between these altcoins and they're obviously clearly getting left in the dust with the Bitcoin comparative, well, you can actually trade different altcoins over at ByBit. Not only can you long and short Bitcoin, but for you, those of you who don't know this, they also have Ethereum, EOS, and XRP, and these are physically traded. So you send XRP to ByBit, you trade long and short, and then you get XRP back, right? So you could do that with EOS, you could do that with Ethereum. See, you just click the chart, switches over, and now we're looking at Ethereum. So that's just something to mention. If you guys haven't checked out my tutorial on ByBit, I do have it. I will drop it above. Also, if you register today, you get $10 absolutely free. All you got to do is just like retweet a tweet, and then they do have a $50 bonus with a certain deposit, okay? Just wanted to point that out, guys. But also talking about one altcoin, Chainlink, a lot of people have been excited about that. Well, somebody says that 1.4 million Link have been moved out of the dev wallet into Binance. It says that according to the white paper, they do not have a lockup on this. So you can see if we click right here, you can see that we've had these funds moved. So this is quite a lot. So the question is, are they looking to dump Chainlink? I don't know, guys, but I just wanted to point that out and let you know that those are on the move. Now, let's talk about Facebook. So you have 5 members of U.S. Congress sent an open letter to the founder and chief operating officer of Facebook, obviously Mark Zuckerberg. They also sent it to Sheryl Sandberg and David Marcus as well, right? So they're basically calling for a moratorium on any development on its proposed Libra cryptocurrency and digital wallet Calibra. They say, quote, "It appears that these products may lend themselves to an entirely new global financial system that is based out of Switzerland and intended to rival the U.S. monetary policy and the dollar." Now, if you want, I have it right here. You guys could see this is the actual document itself. But as Pompliano said, members of Congress just sent this letter to Facebook asking them to officially stop development of Libra. Wait till Congress finds out they can't send letters to Bitcoin. I actually retweeted this over on my Twitter. If you guys want, it's the Crypto Zombie. You're more than welcome to stop by. But yeah, moving on, they say Bank of Japan has concerns about Libra as well. They said it's going to be tough to regulate and it could bring risk to the financial system. To quote them, they say it will move money into an absolutely virtual world, so it's completely different than other forms of digital payment. Now, they had a report that came out, and according to the report, they are saying that they're suggesting that linking Libra to more than one national currency, Facebook may be trying to avoid undue control from one single nation's regulators. So the Bank of Japan's governor said that he intends to keep a careful watch on whether cryptos could become generally adopted as a means of payment. Going back to the report, it further noted that Libra users will withdraw their money to buy the token from regional banks. Facebook would likely place those reserve funds in Japan's larger banks, resulting in a flow away from more minor institutions. Also, a hike in demand for government securities as a result of Libra could also see interest rates drop as well, suggesting that both of these factors could harm Japan's financial stability. So it does look like there are some concerns, and it doesn't look like Facebook's Libra is going to be able to get this off the ground without any difficulties. Now, we also had a debate with BitMEX CEO. Apparently, Nouriel Roubini says release the tapes. He says he absolutely destroyed them and he wants the recording put out. because I guess he had some really good arguments. That's not what I'm reading by other people on Twitter. That's not their perspective, but I don't know. We'll see. Is this tape going to get released? I wasn't there. Maybe somebody has it on their camera. Maybe they filmed it, but he says he absolutely destroyed him. As you guys know, Dr. Doom, not a fan of crypto, but yeah. Anyway, talking about a few more stories and then let's get on out of here. We got places to be. So we have cryptocurrency service providers were struck by an unexpected technical mishap on Cloudflare that deemed their services inaccessible to the users. So they basically confirmed this outage in their blog post, but thankfully this wasn't caused by an attack and forced by malicious intent, as no funds were lost as functionality has returned to the website. So gotta love a good ending to a story. And one more piece I just wanted to point out, data from coinatmradar.com says that by June 1st of 2019, there were around 4,858 crypto ATMs globally, so it's estimated that we probably at this point have over 5,000 Bitcoin ATMs. And I wanted to talk about what Rick Dawkins says. He actually said, I operate a couple dozen regular, like normal ATM kiosks, and he says that there is a Bitcoin-capable software coming to them soon. So someday, those 3 million traditional ATMs will double function as Bitcoin ATMs. He says no other details are known yet. It'll probably take a couple years to get these updates out, I'm sure. The industry is slow and they always postpone deadlines, but long story short, you could potentially, within the next few years, have every single ATM globally also double down as a Bitcoin ATM. I think that is where we're going to end it today. I think that is some good news. Having a look, obviously we could have a little bit of a correction. We could end up filling this, CME gap positively. We do still have these two ones negatively, so there is a chance of downwards, action as well. But guys, as you know, the trend is your friend until the end. And if we do have some more hiccups along the way, it's just Bitcoin, dollar cost average. It's your best bet. Sooner or later, we're never going to see a four-figure Bitcoin again. In fact, we may never see a four-figure Bitcoin again. We may be stuck 10,000 and higher. But if we do have any of these lower opportunities, I will certainly be scooping Bitcoin up. And also, guys, I just want to say thank you so much for coming back to the channel. I really appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, thank you so much for getting subscribed and checking it out. Also, if you hate watching all these ads throughout the video, I know they can be annoying, but they do, help to support the channel. But you can download Brave Browser for a totally ad-free experience. I am a verified publisher. I have a link below. You do get $5 worth of basic attention tokens for using the link and downloading it. So that is all that I have to say today. Enjoy your day, guys. Thank you so much. Hit the bell